A very serious and dangerous weather pattern is kicking in as we go through this severe weather for this week, everybody. Showing chances for strong tornadoes now confirmed by National Weather Service, plus a lot of large hail and strong winds coming through with this storm. Plus, the weather pattern is changing, just like I showed you in my forecast about a week ago. We're going into that pattern soon, where we're going to that higher ridge on the west coast, coming through on that trough from the center to the east coast. This is going to bring a little bit of cooler air, no freezing temperatures or anything, but it's going to be nice overnight, but it's still going to warm up through the day. But that weather pattern isn't going to last long. After that happens, we're going right back into that deep trough on the west coast and bring all these hot temperatures right back again. Plus what's happening in the tropics. Christina is going to be forming soon, if not already. And you can see by the ensembles, they are taking that westward shift. I did post this on my community tab yesterday. We have an upper level high over here swinging everything clockwise across northern Gulf, pushing all this westward. Now this is moving towards the west right around the time this tropical wave is moving towards the west, and there is a little bit of deep ocean heat over here towards the western Caribbean, but it's also getting chased by the dust. But these two might interact somewhere along the Gulf Coast. Latest information shows it's just going to bring rainfall. But the weather pattern is shifting more and more towards the west. So what was bringing Florida some rainfall is now barely bringing anything. So I'm going to show you all these latest updates in this video. That way you know what is coming right around the corner, everybody. Now you can see the latest on Invest 92E. This will become Christina. Right now it's moving northeast at 3 miles per hour, 34 miles per hour sustained winds. But soon this is going to shift back towards the northwest. So here's what you can expect as we go through the first half of June, everybody. As we go through this week, all the way towards Thursday, maybe even some of Friday, bringing a very significant severe weather event. But then after that, we're going to get this cold front coming through, bringing that trough, that high ridge on the west coast, just like I showed you, as we go through this weekend into the first half of next week. But then we're going to go right back into the weather pattern where the heat's going to come back again. Now, yesterday we did get 4 tornado reports, one in North Dakota, the rest was in southern Missouri, northern Arkansas. But we also got over 70, almost 80 wind gust reports. And these were those high winds I showed you. So we did get some 80s, but the highest was 90 and 98 miles per hour wind gusts in North Dakota. Now we're going to see a lot more of that after today. Today we have severe weather, but it's going to be a heightened risk as we go through for tomorrow. So for today, we do have chances for tornadoes, even significant severe over here into Colorado, chances for an EF2 tornado. So here's your cities and states at risk for the tornado threat for today. Also the wind threat for today, even significant severe. Again, this is going to be the theme all week, everybody. Chances for hurricane force wind gusts. So here's your cities and states at risk for the strong winds for today. And the hail threat as well. Significant severe, once again, at least 2 inches in diameter. So here's your cities and states at risk for the large hail for today. Showing as we finish going through this morning, we've got some storms coming through for southern Missouri, going right back to northern Arkansas. This is bringing some winds as well. And the thunderstorms are going to build up for Illinois, going through Wisconsin as we go through the evening. Also maybe over here for northern Mississippi, but it looks like it weakens down after that. But shortly after that, this is where the storm cells push through for Colorado, western Nebraska, and this is where you can get a chance for a tornado, maybe even a strong tornado, as this keeps going through the east through the evening, where everyone else just has regular thunderstorms at this point. It's already overnight into the early morning hours, bringing some winds with that across Nebraska into Kansas and western Missouri all the way until tomorrow morning. Now for tomorrow, this is where everything is going to kick into play. This is where we're getting that negative tilt on that trough, and it's going to last all the way until Thursday, bringing a lot of strong storms all the way from Kansas, Nebraska, into the Dakotas, into Canada. Also, as you go through late in the evening, bringing it all the way across Iowa into Minnesota. Now this is going to be overnight storms going through Minnesota and Wisconsin as well, bringing chances for tornadoes, also very large hail and very strong winds. You got to realize this. This is going to be nocturnal on this threat. This storm mode is not going to stop the whole time, day or night. And you can see here, so as you go through for the rest of the day for today, bringing chances for winds, 40 and 50 miles per hour wind gusts. 50 is in the orange. For overnight tonight into tomorrow, those storms you saw going across Nebraska and Kansas, maybe even western Missouri, showing chances for 50, 60, even 70 miles per hour wind gusts. With that, as we go through, showing it highest is 80, but you tone it down just a little bit, more likely will be 60 and 70. But as we get that negative tilt as we go through for Tuesday, Tuesday all the way towards Thursday. Look at the winds that start coming through for tomorrow night and overnight into the early morning hours. This is only by 1 a.m. This is going to keep going east after this. So if you're in Minnesota, make sure you pay attention to this forecast. All these winds that's brewing up all the way from Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, Panhandle of Texas, all the way into Canada. This is a big line of 50, 60, 70 miles per hour wind gusts. So for tomorrow, for Tuesday, you can see the chances for the tornadoes, even the significant severe now in that black hatched area. So here's your cities and states at risk for a potential tornado for tomorrow, for Tuesday. Also the wind threat, where you can get anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour wind gusts and the significant severe. Also there's 30% where it could get up towards 80 miles per hour wind gusts. So here's your cities and states at risk for the damage and wind threat for tomorrow, and the hail threat as well. You have the 2 inches in diameter in this black hatched area, but all the way up towards this 45%. This is where you can get towards 3 inches plus, everybody. So here's your cities and states at risk for the large hail for tomorrow. So this is where things change. So you have your dew points coming through for today, even bringing those 70s. But look at the weather pattern we're going into, everybody. This is where we get that negative tilt. We had the same thing going further north, still bringing those strong 70 dew points as you go through for Tuesday, also for Wednesday, and for Thursday. So the atmosphere is going to be primed for a lot of strong thunderstorms, maybe even long track tornadoes, everybody. Look at our instability, the food for these thunderstorms to grow. As we go through for today, very strong instability, especially around that MCV. But as that moves across the Great Lakes for tomorrow, we get that negative tilt on that trough, and look at all the instability. Now we're talking about over 6,000 joules, everybody. Large to very large hail. Chances for tornadoes, strong tornadoes, everybody. As we go through for Wednesday, look how all that shifts further towards the east. Very strong instability. And for Thursday as well. It's going to be 3 very powerful days that we are going into. And you can still see the latest update, that MCV, that mesoscale convective vortex, moving towards the Great Lakes, bringing that severe weather for today. Plus, we're starting to get that troughing coming through, bringing some storms later this evening across the Central Plains from that low trough that went towards Canada. But then we're going into that negative tilt on that trough, and everything's going to kick in all the way from Tuesday evening into Wednesday, into Thursday. Just get stronger, and stronger. Thursday is going to be a pretty significant day. Not to mention what's happening for Wednesday and Tuesday night. This is going to be a significant storm, everybody. Showing the latest by Rapid Refresh. Now, we'll keep you updated. Rapid Refresh overhypes these storms just a little bit, but let's just see what is around the corner. Showing as we get those storms coming through for tomorrow, bringing those very strong winds, chances for the strong tornadoes. You can see that as we go through for Wednesday, we're going to be in the same storm mode as that builds up through the evening. Chances for strong tornadoes, maybe even long track, very large hail, and very strong damage and winds all the way towards northern Wisconsin for Wednesday evening into Thursday morning, going across southern Wisconsin into Michigan. Then for Thursday, we're going to have more storms building as well. So there's going to be a lot of rinse and repeat. Chances for strong tornadoes, very large hail, damage and winds. And we could have a long duration, maybe squall line that could turn into a potential derecho. We'll see how long this actually develops. If this forms up over here by western Iowa, what I'm seeing in the lightning strikes, we could have a derecho on our hands where we could have a lot of very strong winds going from multiple states. And here's the next upgrade, everybody. So this is that dangerous turn I was telling you about, and unfortunately it's come to fruition. This is going to be a very bad storm. So for Wednesday, chances for significant severe in this black hatched area. Also this 30%. This is chances for large to very large hail, strong tornadoes, potentially long track, and high winds, potentially hurricane force wind gusts or greater. So here's your cities and states at risk for the severe weather threat for Wednesday. And for Thursday, you can see how much bigger it has grown as well. I think this will grow more into the Ohio Valley. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for the severe weather for Thursday. Once again, for tornadoes, large hail, and damage and winds. Also showing what National Weather Service has for Wednesday will grow more for Wednesday evening as it comes through for northern Wisconsin into UP and Michigan. Still showing we'll see another upgrade. And once again, unfortunately, this is chances for strong tornadoes and very large hail. And showing as we go through for Thursday will grow more with Colorado State University, showing that it will bring more storms towards the northeast. I will keep you updated. Now, latest forecast with the lightning strikes, so we can see the chances for the very large hail as well. You can see this as we go through for this evening, bringing a lot of strong storms, but bringing a lot of chances for very large hail as those builds up right there for Kansas through this evening. Look how we see more of this as this builds up for tomorrow, overnight for tomorrow as it comes across Minnesota. And once again, we're seeing a lot of bow and line features. This could easily bring a derecho across multiple states, all the way from the Dakotas, form up really fast across Minnesota and Iowa late in the evening, and then overnight into early morning hours for Wisconsin and Illinois. So it's possibly we could see a derecho for Tuesday and Wednesday forming up the same thing. A lot of chances for very large hail and all that white lightning strikes, and showing a lot of bow and line features. So it's bringing the damage and winds again as we go through for Wednesday evening, going all the way south, all the way across Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, even some of the interior northeast. Then for Thursday, it comes through again, bringing other chances for another squall line, maybe even a derecho, all the way from Oklahoma all the way towards Michigan, starting in Missouri and Illinois, then growing out and then forming up all the way towards the Tennessee, Kentucky Valley. So latest tropical update, we have Tropical Storm Boris that did form, and we have the Invest 92E, which will be Christina, showing 90% chance in 48 hours, also 90 in 7 days. Still showing it's bringing life-threatening flash flooding for Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. But also showing after it moves northward, it will move northwestward. Still need to watch it, but I believe this is going to be a pretty much done deal, everybody. It's showing that westward push after it messes around with Central America. Showing by the ensembles, we still could have something form up into the Western Gulf that tries to get pulled back after we go about 6 to 7 days. So I will keep you updated. It's still showing that possibility, and you're seeing it on GFS as well. Something very weak, but still might find that favorable pocket as something might try and strengthen up still into the Gulf. It's still a very low chance, but I'm still watching it, everybody. Because you can see after it gets stopped into the Southern Gulf from that upper level high, shortly afterwards, it does eventually get pulled back towards that east-northeast. Whatever is left still remains unclear. I think all this is going to go into Mexico and Texas as tropical moisture, but we still have that other tropical wave moving through the Caribbean, and that interaction could do something. But you can also see by the ensembles as they show that westward shift, but you can see how they shift right back towards the Gulf after that westward shift, but then zag right back towards the west again because of that upper level high. And that is more likely the outcome. Still, things have time to change. I will stay on top of it for you. Look at this. Chances for a tropical depression. Look how it goes towards the Southern Gulf, then it gets pulled towards the west. Then it curves back towards the east and really weak at that point. Latest deterministic models, look at this. The GFS showing nothing really could form out of that. It's starting to agree with what the Euro is saying. Even though the ensembles say there's a chance for something to strengthen up, this is trending together. This will just be a group of disorganized thunderstorms bringing tropical moisture. At least that's the latest update. Plus what's coming right after that. So remember the forecast I showed you that we're going to a very high PNA, a very high Pacific North American pattern. When you have a positive PNA, you get a high ridge on the west coast and you get a little troughing coming through from the center to the eastern United States. That is showing true. But look at this. After we go by the 16th and the 17th, we're going right back into that negative. So the weather pattern that you're in now, with that troughing along the west coast, the high ridge from the center to the east coast, bringing all that heat, that will come back as we go towards the end of June, right after this transition. Now, when you look at your AO, your Arctic Oscillation, you see cold air starts to linger through around that time, but it's not going super deep. But still, we have colder temperatures that's going to be on the way. When you look at your NAO, your North Atlantic Oscillation, showing that neutral pattern that we was going to go into. Remember the neutral pattern where it brings a trough just down towards the Tennessee, Kentucky Valley and out through the east, showing it will go deeper. So that means we're going to get more of a blocking pattern into the Atlantic, and this will bring a deeper trough of cooler air air through. But just like I showed you in the beginning of the video, as we go through this weekend, we're going to see a below average anomaly kicking through. But once we go through next week, this is where it's really going to kick through and bring below average temperatures in for our overnight lows. Also for our daily highs is going to feel rather nice. Then once we go through for next weekend, this is where everything's going to transition and it's going to leave again, and the heat's going to come right back. So this is what you're looking at, everybody, as we go through this week. This is Tuesday morning. This is your overnight lows. The coolest is going to be is in the 70s to the south, the 60s to the north, over here in the 40s across the west. But you see that troughing in that high ridge. Also, as you go through your daily highs for tomorrow, you see all the hundreds across the southwest, those 90s coming all the way through the central U.S. And with our heat index value, it's going to feel like 90s or over 100 degrees for a lot more people. But then as we go towards the end of this week, as we go through for Friday, here comes that troughing coming through, bringing the 50s and the 60s. Now your daily highs will warm right back up, the 70s, even the 80s. You'll stay in the 90s across the southern tier of the lower 48, even 100 in a few places. And with the heat index value, it's going to feel very hot across the south. These are a lot of dew points that's getting pulled north, everybody. But then by next Monday, here comes that troughing digging in really deep. Now your overnight lows are going to be in the 50s, but it's going to warm right back up. You're going to be in the 70s, so it's going to be rather nice. It's going to be better than the 90s, but you're still going to be very hot along the west, all the way down towards the southern U.S. This is that high ridge I was telling you about. And with the heat index value, you're still going to feel like 90s or over 100 degrees across the Gulf. And you can see this from Climate Prediction Center. So you're getting that high ridge of that above average anomaly across the west. And you're getting that troughing coming through, bringing that cool air all the way towards the middle of the month. Now, as we go towards the end of the month, remember, that's going to mild down and we're going to transition. This colder air is going to leave and we're going right back into the heat. But I will keep you updated. This is going to be a very serious transition we're going into on multiple levels, everybody. And I want to make sure you have the latest information on everything, not just one story. So thank you again for your time. I hope you have a very blessed day today. Please make sure you're preparing for these storms up here. And the least is going to bring very large hail and a lot of strong winds, but definitely looking like there's chances for multiple strong tornadoes, not just a possible strong tornado, everybody, unfortunately. If you find this information helpful, please make sure to share this to another platform. Let other people see this. If you're on the phone, hit the hype button down below. Show support. Thank you so much for your help, everybody. Remember, everybody, always help others. Please check on your neighbors. Check on the pets. Make sure everybody will be okay through this transition. Very wise words from our Father. Proverbs 27:10. Thine own friend and thy father's friend forsake not. Neither go into thy brother's house in the day of thy calamity. For better is a neighbor that is near than a brother that is far off. Amen. Be that good neighbor, everybody. Make sure you check on your neighbors. Make sure they're aware of things going on. Everybody has busy lives right now, and a lot of people don't know what you know. So thank you for your support. Thank you for helping others. And remember, above all things, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope He keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. Make sure you get ready for these storms. They're going to be serious.